It's interesting being the first day of March, and if you were born on the 29th of February, you have no birthday this year because there's no 29th of February. So you didn't get a day older, or did you get a year older? You're still the same age until the 29th of February roll around next year. Here in Abaco, you always got to expect the unexpected. In politics, you got to expect the unexpected. And as I stand on the shores of Green Turtle Key, Abaco, where the turtles, you see turtles bobbing their head up and down. And that's the beauty of being on the island. There's not much boat traffic, so you can see the wildlife, nature, all inside the harbor here. You can see turtle as this young fella take this big boat out here. You can see nature at its best. And in Abaco, when you have a business like the Green Turtle Ferry that has no competition from 1950, that is unbelievable. And as this young fella maneuvers way out of the harbor here, I always like to see these interesting boats. This is what you call an interesting boat right here. Never seen one like that, so I got to stop my thoughts and put it into that interesting looking boat there as they go up into Treasure Key and Green Turtle Key in the background. And I want the people of the Bolo, the Green Turtle Ferry, the Lows, to recognize how lucky they are that from 1950 they had zero competition. Just like Albies Ferry in Marsh Harbor, they had zero competition from 1950 until a couple years ago when G&L started. And the old people say putting your eggs in one basket. And for the Bolo people, they would understand what Albies Ferry is going through. You had a $3.5 million contract. And you voted out the government that you thought was the worst government ever, the PLP. Noticeably so, the Bahamas also thought that about the PLP. But lo and behold, the Albies Ferry people that were F&M never thought in their wildest dream that the government that they support 110%, the same people that they sent to Parliament to make sure how clear, clean, on top of the table business practice, they were colluded with Bakers Bay to take the most lucrative contract in the history of ferry service in the amount of $3.5 million. Not only that, the government people that sat at the table took the garbage contract. They didn't even take the ferry, but they consumed everything and took the garbage contract in the amount of $5 million, $25 million clean of Abaco. And not only did they do that, they never thought about Abaco or Abaconians. They sent 18 persons home. And this story is never going to get old because I'm not sending this to nobody in Abaco. Nobody from Bakers Bay, the black people that has to stand in the rain, only 5% of them cares about this video. Most of them, like a fella told me in the service station today, the fella say, Kai, I just want to pay my mortgage. I don't care if I have to go through the Chesapeake tank once I get on Baker's Bay and my mortgage is paid. So I'm not talking about those percentage that don't care. I'm talking and trying to send to the world the percentage of those persons that has a problem standing out in the rain and the sun when 2017 we solved that problem, and we're going back into standing out in the rain just like how we did when we came to the Bahamas in the slave trade. Only one thing is different, is that we don't have no shackles and we don't have no whips over us. One of my most favorite person of all, Bob Marley, he said, Kai Mills, you Kai have to emancipate yourself from mental slavery. And by doing so, I am also trying to emancipate my brothers and sisters from thinking small, thinking like slave. In America, they say only thing happened from the slave trade to now. They take the Negroes off the fields and put them on the playing field, but they're still Negroes, they're still black. And in Abaco, on Baker's Bay, that is what's happening to date. That is why I'm trying to tell a story of a company that came to the Bahamas and give Bahamians mediocre jobs. All the jobs to make the monies, they give it to the white foreigners. As a matter of fact, they got them come all the way from South Africa into Baker's Bay. I met a guy, he's been here for 4 years and he has all the satellites. He said, I am already doing 150 homes. Baker's Bay is planning on putting 400 homes in Baker's Bay. And the black persons that we put as leaders and members of parliament are slow to react. The law, this is the law in this country. It is not Kai law, it is parliamentary law. It has been law for over 20 years. There is not one single house that should be occupied unless you got an occupancy certificate from Bahama Power and Light. To date, March 1st, 2019, Baker's Bay got 150 homes and not one of them has an occupancy license to have electricity in the home. And they're going to build 400. And these houses starts at $3 million and they're up to $15 million home. Not only that, the Bahamas government said that these people don't have to pay any duty for the rest of their lives. Yet, after all of that given to them, you got one man out there, Jeffrey Jones, that's selling all the property, non-Bahamian, non-resident, and he has made in excess of $14 million. 2 homes in Baker's Bay, money in the bank, and we are going on a slave ship to Baker's Bay every day. When Jeff came here on a little sinking sailboat and made over $14 million. That is more money than the last Hubert Ingram administration. $14 million is more collectively than the Perry and the Hubert administration, and Jeff Jones is still there wheeling and dealing. Duncan Burns, a convicted criminal, has company within a company. You recognize that these guys are taking care of these $4 million, $15 million home, and they're getting over $200,000 a year to open the window, to close the window, to take care of these people's boats. And they have foreign white people house sitting in these people's house, and these people come once a year, twice a year, maybe not at all, because they have homes like this all over. And all that cake, all that money is being taken away from Bahamians. the money is so lucrative in Bakers Bay that these people are bringing their friends from all over and say, come to the Bahamas. These crooked, dumb, black fools, they ain't got no sense. The Parliament of the Bahamas is so corrupt. They fighting one another while we take all the money home in the amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Watch this. Bakers Bay has several restaurants and bars. These restaurant and bar is given to them by the Bahamas government. To operate a bar and a restaurant, you have to get a license from our government. Yet, our past Prime Minister, Hubert Ingraham, cannot sit at a bar or a restaurant in Bakers Bay. Perry Christie, the one that gave the Bahamian people the finger on the campaign trail that got beat, the only sitting Prime Minister in the history of this country, dare show himself at the courts when people are going to court for corruption, cannot sit at the table of any restaurant or bar in Bakers Bay, yet they have a Bahamas license and no Bahamian, except for one, could sit at the table. I talk about black Bahamian, but we talking about black nor white Bahamians could sit at the table, bring their boats at the dock, play golf at Bakers Bay, and they have a license for this country. And to date, not one house after 150 homes has been electrified and built in Bakers Bay have an occupancy license from this government. That is why they can say we are so corrupt, and we see the corruption right in our face, and the person that we send to stop the corruption, because the FNM said the PLP is the most corrupt government to have ever sit in House Assembly in this country. What thus says you now, FNMs? When are you going to stop the bleeding? When are you going to collect the tax? We know that they're doing these things illegally. They admitted to it. And still the FNM don't have the teeth, the balls, the gumption to stop the bleeding and bring the tax home that are duly owed to Bahamian. Boy, I could say this all day, because this is a beautiful day. The ferry is coming. The tourists is watching the water. It's a beautiful, beautiful day here at Grain Turtle Key. And all we asking, all Kai Mills is asking, is for the persons that went to say that they want to be the Member of Parliament for the Bahamas, the Prime Minister, please collect the millions of dollars that Bakers Bay owe and stop trying to collect the money to pay the tax of this country from persons that are just going from salary to salary, and the electricity is being off for years, and you're still trying to collect money from those persons when Bakers Bay owe us this cash, and nobody can even sit at the table in Bakers Bay to discuss how and when they're going to stop stealing from this country. Kai cares. That's why I'm spending some time in Grain Turtle Key as the tourists watching the turtles. Can't see the turtle in Marshall, but there's one right there. Even the little children could see the turtles here on the shores of Grain Turtle Key as the ferry comes in. My prayer from the universal God. And I always pray for non-denominational God, but the universal God, for our members of Parliament to act as leaders that were put there to do for Bahamians rather than do for the expatriates and the crooks of Bakers Bay. You are there to make life easier for Bahamians. That's the only job you got. Not to make job easier for the foreign entity. Kai cares. That's why you're here. While the ferries coming in and the tourists is enjoying themselves. Kai cares on the beautiful shores of Grain Turtle Key, Abaco in the Bahamas. WCAY, you're live, baby. I'm letting you know the way it is.